Okay. Very good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Today's in the science of knowing you, I like to. I'm not going to use any presentation today, but I like to give few insights on like why we cannot really stay positive during the most difficult situations. What are the various reasons that we cannot stay positive during the most difficult situations? And a few strategies and few insights. To begin with, few insights on why is that we have a strong psychological perspective that we tend to think so negative. And second, like, what are the strategies that we can adopt to come out of this negative thought process in life and then to be better in life. So to begin with, like, I mean, can I hear some negative situations wherein you felt you're so hopeless, you couldn't do anything, you felt, I mean, that's end of everything, and then can you just narrate some incidents in a line or two such that I can start my class? Sister Mila or Mr. Abhimanyu Mishra, anybody?
Uh, Yes, Sister Kavitha, please repeat your words, please.
Yeah. I'm just asking you, can you narrate a situation in your life where you felt that is end of everything and then you were not able to move forward and you felt so hopeless, and then and any situation, can you narrate the story in a line or two? Okay. Procrastinating on making choices. Excellent. Yeah. Mr.
Yes,
Abhimanyu,
yes,
can
yes.
I hear something from you?
Yes, sister. Sister
Yeah,
Kavitha,
please.
once what happened that it was the, please don't take it otherwise because I am telling it means that real situation. Okay.
Please,
And
go ahead.
I faced it for the first time in my life, Sister Kavitha, that it was a time of Valentine Day. And I was busy that in some of the school program in my assembly hall, suddenly I got a news that one of my girl student fled away from the school, and his parent is means that one of the popular criminal of that area, Patna, Bihar.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yes, and you can understand the situation
Absolutely.
if
Yeah.
such type of parents we are dealing with such type of parents,
Yeah.
and if her daughter is missing from my school, uh,
Yeah.
so means that I too was not knowing that what will going to happen with me next hour, next minute. Okay, means that I was totally hopeless. Okay,
Yeah.
I called my chairman. Okay, he left the city, and
Oh,
yes, he left the city because
okay.
he used to be the relative of Laluji. Okay,
Ah, okay.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
got
yes.
it.
So my school is full of students. Means that uh, we have not even passed our half time of the school. Okay,
Okay.
so that time, that I can't tell you the situation that what I felt. Uh, means that I was feeling that means that he will come and he will shoot me. Uh,
I know. Yeah, yeah.
yes, yes, yes. But uh, with the blessing of God, within 2 to 3 hours, that girl returned in the school. Uh, but meanwhile, her parents came. Uh, he became furious on me, on my teachers, on my staff. But when her daughter returned in the school, okay, then I tackled all the situation. So that was my, bitter experience of my profession, of my teaching profession, Sister Kavita. And I always listen your, class. I always attend your class. You are means that gem of our country, gem of successful world.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
and I will keep your special program for my children, Sister Kavitha.
Sure, sure, sure. Anytime. Please feel free. That
Please
would be
guide
my
me.
pleasure.
Please guide
Yeah.
me how to tackle such type of situation. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sure, sure. Yeah. Yeah, that is, I totally understand, sir. Like, Mr. Abhimanyu, the kind of stress I can very well imagine, because I know the kind of, the approach, especially your state has, and the kind of roughness and ruggedness that they adopt, when dealing with situations. I do understand that. So I can know that the kind of, I know it's almost like close to death. I mean, I can understand the situation. Yeah. Yeah. So today's talk, we are going to talk about that. I tell you, most of the times when we are put up in a negative situation, we all know very well that 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 we are not able to do anything, and we are stuck up at a certain space, and we feel so helpless. I have to get back to the roots of why we we first get into all the negative emotions. First, let me get into the roots of that. If you notice, this is something that has been imbibed in us right from childhood. Right from childhood. If you notice that when a child breaks her favorite toy or his favorite toy, and the child is crying, as adults, we only try to, we opt 2 to 3 ways to control that situation. Situation one, we try to ignore and divert the child to something else. We are not focusing or making a child focus on the emotion the child is undergoing in breaking his or her favorite toy. Rather, we try to divert the child from that situation and try to show something else to the child. Second way, we try to shout at the child that why the child was so careless and the child broke the toy. Why the child couldn't think little, and why the child couldn't think little and why the child broke the toy. The third reaction from our side. The third reaction from our side, we try to be neutral without giving any kind of response. So either you try to divert the child onto something else and make the child come out of the situation, or you shout at the child and create a negative feeling into the child, wherein child feels I broke the toy, though you make the child feel guilty, and such that the child is not crying for the toy and the child diverts the attention. And the third thing is you try to ignore the situation. We are all, 99.9% of us, we are all brought up like that. Do you all agree with me or not? We all have crossed the childhood. We all have crossed the teenage. We all have crossed that. We all have been brought up that way. When there was a negative situation, as a kid, when we have faced, I repeat again, we either shout at the child because the child has done something wrong and make the child feel guilty. Rather than sharing the problem or sharing the worry of the child, we make the child guilty that you have done something wrong. You have done something wrong. Or we try to divert a child's attention onto something else and make the child not feel bad for what has happened to the child. Third, or we just ignore the situation. And we really don't bother much. These are the various things that most of the children in any part of the globe is brought up. It is not something to do only with India or something to do with Africa, something to do with some other country. 99% we are all brought up like that. So what exactly happens when a situation like this occurs? Let us try to understand that. What exactly happens? As a kid, we have never been taught to feel the situation as it is. Like, I break the toy and there is a pain, I don't feel the pain. Rather, the pain is replaced by fear, the pain is replaced by something else, or the pain is ignored. Ignored. Most of us, we were not groomed, we were not brought up feeling what the pain looks like. Yes or no? Raj, am I making sense when I say this?
Yes, it's true.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. So most of us have been brought up like that. So we are not experienced, we are not trained, we are not we are not given the wisdom of being in the pain, being in the pain of what exactly is the situation, because of which we fail or we have been trained not to find solutions to the problems. And that is the way we are grown up as adults, and as adults we are hardwired. If there is something wrong, something grave situation, we either try to escape. That is, we as Mr. Abhimanyu was just mentioning, when a girl fled from the school, the chairman of the school fled the state. So he ran away from the situation. He was not ready to face that. Mr. Abhimanyu was sitting in fear, not knowing what to do. Few teachers, they said, it is not my problem, it is the principal's problem, because principal is responsible for that. So why should I bother as a teacher? Why should I say bother as a teacher? This is because this is something that has been hardwired when we were kids. And that is how we've been brought up, and that is how we start thinking when we grow up. Because of which, when there is a situation, there is, the first thing is the negative emotions that we are flooded with, and rather than finding a solution to the problem, we are in situations which is not directly connected to the problem, which is not directly connected to the problem. This problem, this problem has been faced because of this. So what do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do now? We don't think about the solution to the problem. Rather, we try to get away from the problem, or we try to, we get away from the problem, or we are in the fear, not knowing like what to do, or we just don't care. We ignore the problem. We escape, ignore, or we are lost, not knowing what to do. So this because the childhood upbringing is one of the major reasons why we cannot think positive in a given situation. In a given situation, we are not able to think positive in a given specific situation. So this kind of mindset, the negative mindset, or the protective mindset that has been developed in the childhood, it only, as we grow, as we age across, we only see that these aspects of us only strengthen. So we are either in flight, fight, or we just try to get away, or we just freeze. We do not know what to do. So today's, this is the basic insight, and let me tell you why we have been brought up like that. Because all the time I have been talking of the childhood parenting or the childhood nurturing is a major reason why we are not able to see or be in the problem. Rather, we either fear, or we escape, or we ignore. Rather, we are not trying to be in the problem. We are not trying to be in the problem. This is a narration that goes back to probably when the early man has started his livelihood. When the early man started the livelihood, when the early man, because nothing, there was no wisdom, there was no experience, right? So when a person goes to a forest to get the wood or to get the food for the family, There used to be natural disasters, there used to be animal threats, there used to be survival issues. So there always was something. So this has been hardwired right from the early man, that until I am cautious on certain things, I really cannot survive. I really cannot survive. So, how do you be cautious? When you think everything is good, everything is positive, everything is nice, you cannot really survive yourself, because the first objective of any life on this planet Earth is to ensure it survives. That is the basic objective. It is not to earn the money. It is not to get into a relationship. It is not to breed the children. It is first self-survival. How do I survive first? How do I survive first? That is the basic intent of anything that is living on this planet Earth. On this planet Earth. And that is possible only when I think negative. When I think negative. So when I start thinking negative, I make ways to protect myself. I find solutions. I find strategies to protect myself, to see what is the best I can do, to see that I'm in a better space and I'm in a better position. I'm in a better position. Better position. So this has been given down to the generations. Now, even if a bill is not paid on time, still the mind feels the same stress as how it is a threat to the life. As how it is a threat to the life. Because we are not really taught, we are not really nurtured to distinguish that it is a small thing, it is this, it is a big thing, it is this. We are only nurtured in a way that, but most of us are nurtured in black and white judgmental thinking. Something is right, something is wrong. Something is okay, something is not okay. No, something is fair in a relationship, something is not fair in a relationship. We are only taught like that. We are not taught beyond that. We are not taught the techniques. We are not we are not taught to see the things in the shades of gray. We are only taught to see things in right and wrong, good and bad, and then the best and the worst. We are used to living like that. We are used to nurturing like that, being so judgmental about what we are. So coming to the point. So when a difficult situation comes into life, we try to go negative, we try to be on the negative phase, and we don't tend to see the positive phase of life. We don't tend to see the positive aspects of what the solutions that we need to find to a given situation. We don't tend to see that. We never tend to see that. We only see the negative elements of it. We only tend to see the negative elements of it. What we have to understand is like few strategies and tips that makes us better, and that makes us be in the situation. And another mistake what we usually do, a big error that we do to ourselves and that we do to our children, that we do to the youngsters, is also this. We try to state that, let us say somebody comes to you and states that they're feeling bad because they could not watch their favorite movie, or they're feeling bad because of some X, some Y, some Z, we tend to say, hey, that's nothing, just leave it. That's a very small thing. Why do you bother so much about it? Most of the times we don't validate the feelings what a person undergoes. The major reason why a person gets into depression, why a person takes away life by through suicides, the reason is very, very simple. The reason is we don't validate the feelings that they are undergoing. We underlook the feelings that a person undergoes. We really don't validate, we don't approve, we don't authenticate. I am in gross pain, I go somewhere, I say that I'm in pain. When my friend tells me that is nothing, that's a small thing, just leave it, by stating that my pain does not go away. My pain does not go away. Rather, I start thinking that is a pain. Is it that it is normal, but when I feel that the pain is there, so am I not normal? We are trying to give a situation, we are trying to give an aspect that you are guilty, that you are a different person, you are facing the pain, and the pain is not really a pain. So when the pain is really not a pain, you are only trying to tell me that I am undergoing something which is not normal for a normal person. So the most important strategy that we need to understand is validating the pain. It is just not for your friends, even for yourself. When you are in the pain, just sit. Yes, don't say you are the pain. And don't say I am bad. You are not bad. The bad is on you. The good is on you. Because the most important thing that we have to understand, life is an emotional spectrum. Life is an emotional spectrum. In this emotional spectrum, we can have ups, we can have lows, we can have highs, we can have good, we can have bad, and nothing is permanent. This is something that we need to teach our children right from an young age. I take the same example. When a child is losing the toy, go to the child and tell the child that I know you're feeling bad, but don't worry. This toy was not meant to be permanent with you. It has to break someday, but it broke today. So we will, don't worry. So we have to go, we have to move on, we have to tell. That is the way you make a child, you groom a child to be in the problem. To be in the problem. Grooming a child, grooming a person, and even as an adult, you need to tell yourself, yes, I have a problem. I have a problem. This problem is not going to be permanent because I faced many problems earlier which were not permanent. At some point of time, some solution has come in. That is possible when you validate that the problem is real, your emotions are real, your feelings are real. You need to validate that first. You need to validate that first. When you start validating that, yes, my feeling is real, and then you start knowing, yes, this is something that is felt by everybody. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. Your country's prime minister, your country's president, or it could be your security guard at your space. It could be anybody. The emotions are real. Let us learn to be in that negative emotions. Let us know that, because most of the times one big mistake that we keep doing, we deny the emotions, we deny the feelings. We say that's nothing, it's a small thing. It's a small thing, it's nothing. Because when you say nothing, as I mentioned earlier, you are only trying to say that though it is not, it is normal, but you are not feeling normal, wherein you are adding more guilt to that existing feelings. You are adding guilt to the more existing feelings. So first most important thing, validate your emotions. Your emotions are real, your feelings are real. When your feelings are real, when your emotions are real, and they are all meant to be, they are all meant to be with you. The moment you know the feeling of fear, the feeling of problem is real, and okay, I'm in the problem, that is okay. And when you believe that you have a problem, when you believe that your feelings are real, you will also start believing that this is not going to be permanent with you. This is not going to be permanent with you. This is going to go. This is going to go, because as I mentioned earlier, 99% of the times we are only in a denial mode. We say nothing. That's okay. That's okay. Nothing. It's not a problem at all. That you can overlook that. That's okay. Never ever say that to yourself, not to your kids, not to your family, not to your friends. Never ever say that. So validating your feelings, very, very important. The moment you start validating your feelings, yes, and don't say you are bad. Don't say you are good. You say happiness is on me. Badness is on me now. I'm going to overcome that. Happiness is on me now. So when you say I'm good, I'm bad, because how can you be bad? That is a temporary phase. And why do you want to make it permanent? That is wrong. So change the verbatim, change the phrasing to yourself, because self talk is pretty, pretty powerful. Every word that you speak, every word that you speak will make you that. Never forget that. Every word you narrate, every word you think to yourself, it will make you that. And let me tell you, there has been a research that has been done which states that feelings are much more powerful than the thoughts. I tell you the difference. There is a problem that's come to me. I think, I'm going to be all right. No, I'm going to be all right. But inside, I have palpitations. I have this fear. I have this negative vibes. I'm restless. I have panic attacks coming up to me. But you're thinking that it's normal. You're thinking that you don't have a problem. Let me tell you, thoughts are nothing. Feelings are more powerful. Feelings are more powerful. Feelings really make what you are. Feelings make you a better person. Though you think to yourself, thought is a very powerless thing. Let me tell you, it's a powerless thing. So you need to force yourself to develop those feelings, and that feeling should be genuine, very, very genuine. You can't have fear inside and think that I don't have fear. You have fear. Yes, you have fear, and you know pretty well this is going to overcome. So the first most important thing is, like, first validate your feelings. Validate your feelings. The feelings are real. And second most important thing, feelings are much more powerful than the thoughts. Feelings are much more powerful than the thoughts. Let's not forget that. And the third most important thing, try to develop, because as I mentioned, we are so much used to developing a negative mindset right from the childhood. It is not done consciously. It just happens, because that is the way we were groomed, and that is the way we groom our children, and that is the way they groom their children. So it is a chain reaction. It is a chain reaction. It is not that we intend to spoil somebody. Our intentions are good, but subconsciously we bring this nurturing into the children. We bring this negative thoughts into the children and make them feel that this is the way life works on. This is the way life works on. So the third most important thing, we need to think of rewiring our mindset. Rewiring our mindset. How do we do that? As I often keep mentioning in many of, I think even in Success World One, I've told the same thing in many classes. Try to count your blessings. Try to count your blessings. Every day, make it a habit to write 10 things that make you happy. And most important thing I would like to narrate here. When I say happy, unfortunately, we have been hardwired to tag happiness only to things that has an outcome. What do I mean by that? I'm happy when I achieve something great. I'm happy when I succeed in an exam. I'm happy when I'm in a relationship, good relationship. I'm happy when I get my dream job. I'm happy when I get my dream home. I'm happy when my salary is this. I'm happy when my lifestyle is this. Unfortunately, happiness is subconsciously tagged on to a specific outcome. Do you all agree with me or not on this? Can someone
Yes.
answer? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Happiness is tagged on. Happiness is tagged on to a certain outcome. To a certain outcome. Please let us correct this. Happiness definitely is a result of certain outcomes, but happiness is not absolutely attached to an outcome. attached to an outcome. Let us first have the clarity on that, because we've been taught from childhood. You be a good boy, and I am very happy with you. So when a child is a bad boy, we are indirectly stating the child, are you a good boy or a bad boy? We ask the child about this. So we always give, and the child, if the child breaks a toy, if the child bullies somebody, if the child is fighting with somebody, if the child does something wrong, so we are indirectly telling the child, you are a bad boy. Bad boys cannot be happy. Only good boys are happy. We are trying to give that, and we don't do that intentionally. That is something that is driven into the child at a very, very subconscious level. So the most important thing that we need to understand is happiness need not be associated with any outcome. You wake up in the morning, you're breathing. That's the first thing to be happy about. Because many people, there are many cases, I'm sure, which you have seen, that many have passed away in their sleep. They don't even see the next day, where the opportunities, their dreams, their visions, the wishes, and all their life goals just go away with them in the sleep. You wake up in the morning, that's the first best thing to be really, really happy about. The second best thing, you have a roof above you. Be happy about it. You have a roof above you, because there are many people who don't even have a roof, who have to sleep on the pavements, who have to sleep on the roads, who have to sleep nowhere. They just sit on some benches or some space, and in the parks, in the zoos, and they start sleeping. And you have a square meal to really survive. Be happy about it. You have some relationship. You have some people. You're not an orphan. You have a family to call for. You have friends to call for. Be happy about it. Be happy about it. And you have children. Be happy about it. And don't try to see the best and worst in any person. Don't try to see best and worst in any person. Yes, as Sister Mila says, gratitude. You try to mention at least 10 things in a day that has made you really happy. You are blessed, you feel great, you feel blessed, you feel grateful about. And after 3 months, try to see 20 things. After 3 months, try to see 40 things. After 3 months, now we are coming to the end of an year, the fourth quarter, the last term of the year, you try to see 50 things. When you start seeing things and enjoy things, every small aspect of your life, you're only trying to change or rewire your thought process into a happy thought process. This is another strategy that you need to adopt, because through generations, through many generations, that is right from the early man to what we are today, we are so much used to a negative hardwiring. You're used to a negative hardwiring. And now it is time that we start rewiring our mindsets to a happy note, to a happy state of mind. We start rewiring ourselves to a happy state of mind. That is another most important thing that we have to think about. And the next most important thing that we have to think is try to involve in some, engage yourself all the time. While you are engaging yourself all the time, ensure you are doing something related to the society. It could be giving a talk like me, or it could be spending or buying a meal for somebody. It could be helping a child in the homework. It could be helping a child, or trying to crack a joke and taking your friend to a movie and trying to de-stress your friend because your friend is down. Make sure what you contribute to the society is equally important. I also give you an anthropological reason why Why? When you make the service to the society as an important aspect of your life, and you make an integral aspect of your life, you can be happy and you can have a positive mindset. Because anthropological reasons state that anything that has a materialistic value will have a short lifespan. Like, let us say that you wanted to earn around $100,000. You worked very hard for it, and you work day and night, and you're dreaming to gain that $100,000. The moment you gain that $100,000, and let me tell you, the happiness of gaining that $100,000 will not stay with you for years together. After 2 years, you feel that I think I'm more deserving for $200,000. 100,000 is not that. I've already reached that stage. You wanted to buy a dream house, and you've been planning for almost 20 years, 10 years, trying to save your money and then trying to compromise on many things, and you finally got your dream house. You bought your dream house. How long does that house gives you happiness? It doesn't give you happiness. Probably for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. At the max, if somebody, after 7, 8 years, if someone says that, wow, you got such a beautiful home at that such precious location, I'm so glad about it. When somebody states that. But do you have the depth of happiness? Do you have the depth of positive emotion? What you are having when you are planning, when you are trying, when you're doing your housewarming ceremony, when you're planning to get into the house, it doesn't stay with you. So don't forget that. Anything that can be measured, anything that is quantitative in approach, anything that can be measured, quantitative in approach, doesn't give you the positivity or the happiness for a long time. It doesn't give you that. It stops at some point of time. You get that saturation. As a human being a social animal, being a social animal, always want to be good in the society. Even the most important terrorist, let us take the latest case of Russian and Ukraine war. Even the Russian president thinks that he doesn't think he's doing wrong. He's still doing that because he thinks that is right. He thinks that is right. And doesn't think that is wrong because he has his own strong reasons to state that, he's right. He's right. So when you add a social service element or a community service element as your day-to-day routine or a practice, you feel a sense of worth, a better self-esteem, which will be with you forever. It does not have a short span of life. It doesn't have a short span of life. For the simple reason that every human being a social animal, really wants to feel good, really wants to feel connected, really wants to be called a good person in the society. Nobody likes to be called a bad person. Everybody likes to be called a good person. So make the service a part of your lifestyle, such that when you get back to bed in the night, you know that you have done something wow. You have done something good. And that gives you a peace of mind that you help somebody. As I mentioned, it can be anything. Because I feel I can change people's lives, so I indulge in talking to people. I indulge in changing the mindset. That is my favorite cup of tea. Probably you have some other skill, which you are good at. Probably you are a good teacher. Try to just go and teach few children like who find it difficult, or try to just try to give company to your friend who is in difficult situation. Try to be or if you have if you can spare some money, try to lend some financial support to some people. So try to involve in a community service. Involving in a community service, it brings you a positive mindset, because you feel, yes, you've been responsible for somebody's life. You've been responsible for somebody's life. And that gives you a lot of peace and happiness. Trust me. So that is the last thing that you need to do. There are still many more things. And try to, and last but not the least, the most important thing, there are few myths that we are hardwired since childhood. The end of a good thing is the start of a bad thing. The start of a bad thing is a continuity of a bad thing. The relationship is good only with the best person. You know, success gives you happiness and failures gives you sadness. And getting your dream home, dream job, and dream career is what will really make you the ultimate successful person. And a closed door in a relationship is a closed door forever. These are all the certain myths that we've been hardwired so hard right from the childhood. Let us come out of it. As I mentioned earlier, life is full of emotional spectrums. When you start validating, when you start being in the problem rather than the denial mode, you start seeing that life is meant to be beautiful. Life is meant to give you something wow. Life is meant for something much more beautiful. I think with this, I end my class. And if there are any questions, I would be more glad to take. Thank you so much for listening to me. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask me. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Kavitha. Okay, let Derek have something.
Yeah, Derek.
Derek has some questions, yes.
Yes, Mr. Derek, you have to unmute yourself.
Uh, yes. Good afternoon. Good
Very good
evening.
afternoon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kavitha, for the beautiful session. I think my question is on the point when you talked about the word. So I just want to hear from you. What are some of the impacts that the word has in our biochemist, in our decision making? Because I think I was very patient hearing you emphasize that every word that we speak to ourselves has got a very big influence into our lives. So could you just add some more on how does it affect our lives? Like how does the words we speak to ourselves affects our lives?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for that. Self talk is pretty important. You're talking about self talk, right? Did I get you right, Mr. Derek?
Yeah, could be self-talk, but I just want to put in general, like a word, like the words that we speak to ourselves. How does they
Yeah,
affect our
yeah,
lives?
okay, okay. Yeah, I tell you. It is a simple. Let me tell you, like how how do we make decisions? Like let me give you a decision making cycle. Let us say that I probably like to give a small example here. Whenever I try to drive a car, I try to drive car, I hit somewhere, and it was a major hit. I'm so not very confident in driving the car. So next time when I have to drive a car, the first thing that comes to my mind is I cannot drive the car. Why? Because I'm scared. Why? My inner voice is telling me that you have a chance, a probability to get into an accident. And why my inner voice is telling me that? Because I had a past experience that I hate it. I hate it. So, and 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 why that, and what, and where does this experience come from? I have been into a situation, I have been into a situation wherein I was only told that you hit the car, I was made feel guilty, I was scared, and nobody could come and tell me it's a normal, it's a part and parcel of life. The moment I hit the car, come on, you can do it again. It doesn't work like that. You come on, do it. Because I didn't make that attempt, the fear started in me. And it is in me still now, till now. This is how every situation works. Behind every behavior, there is an emotion. Behind every emotion or a feeling, there is an inner voice that is telling you that. Behind every inner voice, there is an experience. Behind that experience can be yours, or that experience can be somebody else's. She was trying to drive the car and she hit the car 4 times. So you might also be doing the same. So the experience need not be exclusively yours. The experience can be yours, or experience belongs to somebody who has laid a great influence on your mind. And because of which, and behind that experience, you cannot drive the car when there is a crowd, or there is a context. There is a context or a situation. Every time we talk to ourselves, we behave with ourselves, these are the various pathways that we take up. This can happen even in the happy note. I spoke about a negative situation. Let me talk about a happy situation. Initially, when I was talking, I was scared, would I be in a position to convince people? Would they laugh at me if they say something wrong? Am I really do I really possess the wisdom that I can talk to people? So when these elements of doubt start creeping in me, my confidence to face the people, it is drastically reduced, and I don't want to make an attempt, or even if I have to make an attempt, I just see that I finish it off fast and quick and then be back to my the safe space. I don't want to be in that space forever. As the time is passing, now I can sit and talk for 6 hours, 8 hours non-stop. Probably all I need is a bottle of water. Because I have decided that I cannot be everything for everyone. That is not possible. I cannot be everything for everyone, because this decision has made me sit now to take the classes for hours together. I cannot be everything for everyone, and I need not make sense to everybody. But there are few which can, for whom the life can really change. And those are the people who matter to me. And fourth, if I do not know anything, let me admit that I do not know that. By doing so, I don't feel guilty. Rather, I feel more confident. Because I agree, I understand a person need not know everything in life. But a person should develop the guts and confidence to state that I really do not know. I try to answer. If I do not know, please give me time. Let me get back to you. There's nothing harm in that, because that is not going to put me in an embarrassing situation. So self-talk is so important, so important, because every decision, every behavior that you make has a thought behind it. That thought has an emotion behind it. That emotion has an inner voice behind it. That inner voice has an experience behind it, and that experience has a context behind it. Yeah, Mr. Derek. Yeah, this is what I was just trying to, the same thing I was trying to narrate. So this is something let us try to understand. Self-talk is so important, because you have to, let me tell you, nobody can love you much more better than yourself. And nobody knows you better than yourself. Let's not forget all this. If we cannot know ourselves first at the first instant, what is the point? And how do you expect others to know you? You know yourself better. You know your skills. You know your values. You know your pluses. You know your weakness. You know your minuses. You know your skills, and you know what you cannot do. But be bold enough to state, because don't ever forget. Everybody need not know everything. Not possible. It's highly impossible. You know certain things, but ensure that these certain things you are absolutely good at. There cannot be a denial, because let us not fail to forget that everybody needs to be given a chance. And if you know everything in life, and if you want to do everything in life, then you are not giving a chance to anybody else, and that's not fair, and that's not the way we live in a society. So when you do not know anything, please understand you're giving a kind of an employment to somebody, which is amazingly great. It's amazingly great. So this is exactly what I just wanted to convey on the self-talk. Thank you. Yeah, Emmanuel, if the power of the words or not. Yeah. Emmanuel, yeah, please go ahead. I'll take up the question, Raj.
Yeah, thank you very much for these teachings. I'd like to ask, how can one reverse a negative perception about someone, or maybe you meet someone on a bad day, and so whatever the person was doing gave you a wrong impression about him or her, so you end up not liking the person. Meanwhile, the person has a good side. Maybe it was due to a circumstance that the person turned out to do something bad the day you came across him. How do you reverse that negative thought or perception about the person? And secondly, if you have had a, an experience in the past and it has created a belief or a thought in your system or in your mind, in order to move forward, in order to make progress, how do you um, change that thought, negative thought, or that experience you've had in the past? How do you overcome it without holding on to the past? Because it's definitely going to affect your decisions into the future.
Okay, thank you, Manuel. Yeah. So the two parts of your question. Part one, how do you change the negative perception of a person? As I mentioned during the class, anything that is on to with the person is only temporary. It's only temporary. It's not permanent. It's not permanent. Because even if you look at yourself, you please understand, not every time you are fair, not every time you are good, not every time you're trying to do the best. Despite knowing that, despite having an opportunity to do the best, despite that, you still didn't do that. You didn't do that because you had some pressing reason. You had a strong reason at that point of time to behave that way. To behave that way. So, much before judging the other person, go home, sit back and start writing your story wherein you could have behaved better, you could have done better, you could have behaved, and you could have definitely done a better thing than what you have done, and just write all those things. Just write the situation and how you behaved. How you behaved. After that, the third column, let us say we put it under three columns. One, you give a situation and your behavior. Right? Honestly to your heart, be very, very faithful. Be very, very faithful. What made you behave like that? Is it because you are jealous? Is it because you are pretty possessive? Is it because you wanted to get that for yourself and there was only one? Is it because you wanted to get a better attention? Is it because you somehow you had a strong craving and you've been waiting for that for many years? So if you start writing a narration for that specific behavior, what made you act like that, you will come out with many solutions. That is as per you. Now start writing about your friend. Write the situation, the way he has behaved, probably what could be the reasons that your friend or somebody, your friend, your partner, somebody has behaved like that. The probable reasons. Okay? Once you have these two papers ready with you, start looking at them and then see when you can do that. Why is it wrong that your friend cannot do that? Why is it wrong that he has become bad forever? Right? Because let us try to understand, when we start thinking negative, because we are hardwired to think negatively, because that is the way we protect ourselves. We are thinking negative, but what we fail to understand, that we have also been behaving like that, and nobody can behave 100% good any point of time. Nobody can behave 100% good any point of time. So you look at yourself, you look at your behavior, you look at your friend's behavior, and now think, did your friend act so weird, or was it okay? Did you also do it at some point of time? Just think about it. And be very fair. Be very, very fair. Don't be judgmental. When you can do it, he has equal right to do that. Because each one of us at some point of time, we are possessive, we are jealous, we just want to get that for ourselves. And we need it. We are craving, we are desperate for that. So we need it at any cost. So I was behaving like that. Let's say there is one job opportunity, and on you and your friend both are equally eligible for that. Do you have that big heart to give it away to your friend? Or do you think, no, I need to get it, please, That's okay. That selfishness is a part of life. Selfishness is a part of survival. Survival, think about it. Think about it. Because you also have behaved like that. When you start looking at yourself, then you start developing that acceptance on your friend. You start developing that acceptance on your friend. When you start developing that acceptance on your friend, you know pretty well that it is normal to behave at times like that. So you would be in a position to forgive your friend. Forgive your friend. The moment you can forgive your friend, you can become normal. You can become normal. And the second thing, you have developed a belief system. At some point of time you are not able to come out of it, and the belief system is staying strong in you, very, very strong in you. You can follow still the same exercise, because all you need to understand, in any given situation, nothing is absolutely good nor nothing is absolutely bad. As I mentioned in my class, you cannot see a life in black and white. You cannot see your life in right and wrong, good and bad, worst and best. It doesn't work like that. There is always a spectrum. There is always a spectrum. We lie somewhere in the spectrum. We lie to see. We lie in the spectrum. You call it good when the percentage of goodness is little higher, more than probably 50%. You call it bad when it is less than 50%. That is how you decide. That is so nothing can be absolutely good, absolutely bad. It doesn't work. Life doesn't move like that. Life doesn't move like that. So when you have developed a belief system, or when you are making a judgment on something, just sit and write. Are you realistic in your thought? Can you rethink? Can you rebehave? Just rethink about it and try to see, I am going to behave now better, keeping that, losing out my old perspectives and gaining a new insight, and let me behave and try to see if I can be a better person. Try working on that. Probably twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times. It's not so easy because the belief is so hardwired into you. It's not so easy. But as you keep moving it, as you keep doing it, you will understand at some point of time that your belief was wrong. Try out till then. Try out till then. Did I make sense, Emmanuel? Emmanuel, are you there? You have to unmute.
Yeah, it's clear. I understand it now.
Yeah.
The explanation was very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. If you have to, my last question probably, if you have to make your words powerful, most important thing, don't loosely use the words. Don't mindlessly use the words. This is what I keep telling people, because I think what is happening in this technology driven age, people have become so mindless, they don't care if a person is suffering. How are you doing? I'm doing good. I give a response so mindlessly. I really don't have any emotion in that. I don't have a feeling in that. I mean, a person who's asking is not mindful about it. A person who's not who's responding is equally not mindful about it. We are so much used to living in the mindless world, and we our usage of words have become so loose that we don't really feel the words, we don't feel the emotions, we don't really feel the emotions in the words. So the most important thing, whatever you're talking, whatever you're doing, you need to ensure that you really mean it from the heart, not from here, not from here, because the technology driven world has highly disconnected this space and this space, completely disconnected, completely disconnected. It's almost like we all have become robotic in life, all have become so robotic in life that whatever we do we are so mindless about it, whatever we do we are so mindless about it. The most important thing that we need to understand, whatever we speak, let us first develop the mindfulness and let us understand, do we really mean that? Do we really mean that? I think the best way to really empower the words, what you say, what you think, what you act, the most important thing is start becoming conscious of it. Don't be mindless when you do certain things. Becoming conscious is a very important act that we need to do to really make our words so powerful. Start doing that. When you really want to ask somebody, you mean it, you really mean it, you really have that emotion, you really have that feeling in that. Don't just like that say, hi, how are you, I'm good, thank you. No, don't be so informal, because we already become so informal in the technology driven world, we already become robotic in that technology driven world, we've become so robotic in our lives. Let's not make ourselves more robotic. It is time that we now get back to being a human. We've lost being a human, and it's time that we get back to being a human. It's time that we get back to bringing our emotions. It is time that we realize the feelings. It is time that the humanity, we try to bring back the humanity, and this is the time for all that. So be conscious when you do certain things. Don't mindlessly state certain things. Don't mindlessly do certain things. Have that conscious. As I told you, there is a huge disconnect between the mind and the heart. Bridge the gap. Bridge the gap. And that is possible when you make conscious efforts. When you make conscious efforts in stating what you mean, and please do really mean that. Don't do when you don't mean that. Do when you really mean that. Probably, if you're so much used to leading a robotic life, at least start now doing things consciously. At least you ensure that today I'm gonna do at least 5 things wherein I'm going to be very conscious. And I'm going to really mean that. And that's going to come from here. It's not going to come from here. I mean it. As I mentioned, feelings are much more powerful than the thoughts. Feelings is what make you a person, not the thoughts. Not the thoughts. So when you do something, be conscious about it. Did I make sense, Raj?
Dr. Kavitha, it's a
Yeah.
mind-blowing session, and really thank you for answering in such a simple way. I thought it's a difficult question, but you made it such a simple, to make us realize where we are going wrong in this life and what we can, just by changing our thoughts and changing our emotions, how can we achieve the better thing in our life. So really, thank you so much for this help.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My absolute pleasure. I think I can state my own example, Raj, here when I say, like where you use your heart and then the mind.
Yes.
Probably whichever session I take, I feel that, as I mentioned, I know that I cannot impress everybody, but I know there are certain things that are going to go deep inside, and it is going to change their lives. So I think that this session is going to be for that one person whose life is going to be changed. When I start thinking like that, my passion to take up the class, it eventually starts coming up. It eventually starts coming in. I feel that, wow, I need to do something. Wow, I don't want to take a class for the sake of taking a class. Let me not do that. If I don't feel like taking up a class, that's fine. I can always say, I'm sorry, I'm not in a mood to take up a class. But when I take a class, let me ensure that that one single person, I'm going to change the life. I'm definitely 100% responsible for the person. Let me take up a class considering that one person. I think if I start thinking like that, eventually my outcome, my thought process, it comes from here. It doesn't come from here. It doesn't come from here. I try to speak from my heart. Which can definitely bring in a great change. I think we all need to. I think it's time that we all get back, to the feelings, to the emotions, the simple basics of being a human. I think we lost it in the process. We really lost it in the process. We need to bring it back. Thank you, Raj.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kavitha.
Raj, do we have a LinkedIn page?
Yes, there is a page, but I am not updated it. But I will update and send it to you.
No. What I feel is you can tag me in that. The reason
Okay.
being, like what I notice, this can be helpful for our sessions. All the sessions. Thank you so much, Sister Mila. All the sessions can be really useful because all the people on LinkedIn are working, right? So
Yes.
eventually they are into a lot of life issues, life, I mean, the day-to-day work issues, life related,
True.
life work balance and all this. So I think we need to promote this more on LinkedIn as well, because Facebook is a mass page. On a LinkedIn, probably, I mean, the chances that it really touches the keynote people, it's much higher.
Before the next session, I'll try my best to do it.
Yeah, I think that will be a great thing. I mean, that would be
All
really
right.
really good.
And Sister Mela is really, helping us in a lot of things. So I'll request her to help us in this also.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Teacher Carolina. Yeah, LinkedIn is a great platform because I always find that because I follow many pages on LinkedIn, I often keeps people lamenting on, I mean, there is a problem, there is a pressure, there is this, there is that, probably I think anyways we are going it, I mean, free to the world. I mean, on LinkedIn it would definitely be touching upon few people that can really bring in a great change.
Noted, Dr. Kavitha. We'll make it as
Yeah,
soon
I
as
think I
possible.
think today's session also you can actually post it, like if there is a possibility. I'm
I'll
not
do
sure.
that because
Yeah,
it was already live on YouTube. Now we'll post
yeah,
it over there also.
yeah. Please. You can tag me as well.
I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah, sure. So thank you so much, and thanks for all the patience listening to me. And I thoroughly enjoyed the session, and it's always my pleasure. I mean, to talk to people, to connect to people, and I think this is a great way that I can really I share my love with people. So thank you so much, and have a great day and have a great evening, everybody.
Mm.
Thank you so
We
much.
really,
Namaste.
For this beautiful
really thank you, Dr. Kavitha, and hopefully next week we'll meet again.
Sure.
Thanks for everybody for participating. I hope everybody learned a lot from this one. Thank you. So we're going to end the session. Anybody has
Sure.
something to say?
I would like to say something.
Please go ahead.
Actually, I regret that I missed the session. I came late. I was attending another session, but I enjoyed Dr. Kavitha's session. I don't know if she recognizes me, but I did sit for a couple of sessions, and I will definitely go through the YouTube link again. And I do regret, like you said, I missed that I couldn't sit for the sessions because I'm getting another session. But yeah, looking forward to hearing more from you. And thank you so much for having me on this platform.
Thank you, Ms. Carolina. Thank you so much.
You are always welcome in the classes, and you can also invite your friends and family members, because everybody has something or the other in daily life, as you hear now from Dr. Kavitha, that it can be really helpful for everybody.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So we're going to end the class now. Is there something else to be said?
I think from my side, there's nothing,
All right. So we end the class and we meet next week. Thank you so much.